This is going to be a video on painting a sphere. If you're at home and you don't have access to the circle templates and things that I have in class for drawing the circle, you would do something along the lines of either using a can or a cup or something to draw your sphere. You can draw it freehand also, and I'll make that decision. I'm going to go with the bigger one. So a circle is a flat, round shape. A sphere is when you have 3D form. So we're going to be using watercolor to paint different values to give that illusion of 3D form. First thing you need to do is decide which direction the light's going to come from this upper left corner. That means the cast shadow is going to go out this way. Okay. So the key with watercolors is to lighten colors, you use the water, and it's the whiteness of the paper that keeps things looking lighter. The more pigment you put on top of that paper is how you get darker. Start off with the larger round brush. And what I'm going to do, the way I like to start, is to put down water first. It'll keep the paint contained. It also gives you those smooth transitions in your paint. So I'm just going to follow my edge here and put down water first. So watercolor, you use these transparent layers. You work from light to dark. So let's see, I'm going to go with a red sphere. So I've got the brilliant red here, which is a good primary red. I activate the paint. I'm going to start off putting some down. I don't want it too heavy first. I just want some light tone across the whole thing. Working around that edge, you want to follow your form. So I'm going to work around here. We'll keep that white area for the highlight. Now, the quality of the paints, the quality of the paper, we use a student grade watercolor paper. So there are watercolor papers you might find later on, or that experts use, where you get some better transitions. Now that I have an overall red tone to this, I'm going to clean some of the pigment out and just go in with some water and get this highlight area filled in a little bit, but smoothing the tones. Okay. Now, there's steps when you may want things to dry in between. I'm just going to start working in this. If the highlight's over here, then the shadows on the opposite side of the highlight. So I need to get darker on this side. Okay, before I go to add any more color over there, I'm going to add the cast shadow. So the parts that you have here, and I have a diagram on canvas that you'll see, but you have a highlight. That's where the light hits the sphere. Opposite the highlight, where the light's not getting to because the light hits this edge of the ball, and then we're going to say this is a red ball. And then it disperses around the round object, okay? And then where it doesn't hit is the darkest core shadow, and you have even values in between. What happens down on the surface is you get your cast shadow. The cast shadow is going to be darkest where the object touches the surface, and then it gets lighter as it goes out. The light's coming this way, it's going to cast that shadow out here. You're going to have a little bit in front here because of the roundness of the ball. But the better you get at doing this, the more you will have that realistic illusion of a round object sitting on a surface. For the cast shadow, I'm going to use burnt umber and blue mixed together. You get some richer tones than you would with just a flat black. Now, if you had this on an actual surface, if you're either painting something in real life on a surface, or you want to, like my advanced students, I'd like to see you put the whole background tone and a surface color. So the cast shadow is just a darkening of the surface. So it would be the same color as your surface, just darker values. So I'm going to go in, and this is where the ball would contact the surface, and that would be the lightest area of it. And I'm going to dab some of the paint off on my paper towel and start moving it out this way. Okay, so come up in here and just start moving that out. Moving some of it out here. So I try and leave some of that darker pigment in here and just move it out. And then I can get a little touch of water and take it out here. And a little touch of water to get that smooth transition out here. There. And I can get a little bit of water, soften up this edge. Put a little bit more in here. And dab it out. And move it out. Then I'll come back to this and work on it a little bit more, but it will start helping you look like you've got that ball sitting in space. Okay, so now I'm going to mix a little bit of green, which is a complementary color of red. Mix a little bit of green into my red. So I'm going to pull some of this red pigment down here. And I'm going to get some green. There's two different greens I have here. It's going to take some practice to find which ones work best with which colors. This is what they call as their sap green, but I'm going to add it, and it looks okay. Then there's a little blue or green here too that you could work with. But what I'm trying to get is I'm trying to get a color that still looks red, but it's going to neutralize it some and darken it to give it the feel for the shadow. And then I'm going to come in, I'm going to turn this upside down again so that I can work along this side and come along this edge. I have it a little bit on the thick side to also keep it a little darker. You can have a little reflective light down here, a little lighter edge, but I still need to soften it some. And I'm going to start pulling it up around the form. So I think I'll bring a little bit down here and get even darker. Now that's a little too green. Looks too green. I don't want that to happen. I just want it to look like a really dark red. Okay. Come down here. Put this in through here. And then I'm going to get my red, come in through here. I can tell I'm getting a little bit too wet at this stage of the painting also. So I may have to let it dry or get a hair dryer. As I get to this point, it's pretty developed right now, I'm going to want to speed things up. I decided to get some clean water, and I'm going to pull a little bit of pigment out for this highlight. And then I'm going to this paper, actually I think it's more the watercolors, not really moving as good as I wanted it, so I'm having to work a little bit harder really to get that smooth coloring. I've got it okay here, and then things went wrong over here, so it's a little bit tricky. I'll be finding the best watercolors and the best paper that we can use in class. This year it's going to be a big focus for me because I really think you'll have fun with watercolor, and we should be doing more of it. Unless you're an advanced student that is going for the 4 and putting in the background and color. You'll be in good shape with what we've got here. Okay, so again, these darks are with the complementary color, which green in with the red gave it a nice rich color. I'm happy with the colors. I'm just not happy with the way the paint's going on, and not really sure why it's as bad as it is. But again, proficiency would be having a highlight, middle tones, and darker tones, using the complementary color to get darker than the red out of the tube, okay? And having the cast shadow down below with darker values where the object touches the surface and getting lighter as it goes out. So this will be, like I said, a 3 to a 3.5 for proficiency. Okay.